Okay, welcome back in. I'm going to be reviewing Thursday's action from the National Hockey League. There were a total of 4 games on tap, so let's dive in. Starting in Tampa, as we had the Battle of Florida between the Lightning and the Panthers. Nate Schmidt would open things up for the Panthers in the first, getting his third goal of the playoffs from Sam Reinhart and Andrei Barkov, 4:15 of the first period. There was no scoring the rest of the first or the second, and the only other goal to report was the empty net goal that Sam Bennett scored, getting his second goal of the playoffs, assisted by Seth Jones. So the Panthers will go into Tampa and steal the first 2 games. They have definitely claimed home ice advantage in this best-of-7 playoff series. The Battle of Ontario moved to Ottawa for Game 3 of their series, with the Senators taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Claude Giroux would kick things off in the second, getting his first goal of the playoffs on the power play from Jake Sanderson and Drake Batherson, 1:38 of the middle frame. Matthew Knies would score, tying the game up at 1, getting his second goal of the playoffs on the power play, assisted by William Nylander and Mitch Marner, 8:31 of the second period. Austin Matthews would break the tie early in the third, getting his first goal of the playoffs from Mitch Marner and Morgan Riley just 32 seconds into the third period. Brady Tkachuk would tie the game up at 2, getting his second goal of the playoffs, assisted by Claude Giroux and Clevin, 11:22 of the third period. This game would need to go to overtime, and the game-winning goal would come off the stick of Simon Benoit, getting his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Austin Matthews, 1:19 into the overtime frame. With that, the Toronto Maple Leafs now lead that best-of-7 series 3-0. The next game took place in Minnesota, as we had the Wild playing host to the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 3 of their best-of-7 series. Kirill Kaprizov would kick things off for the Wild in the first, getting his third goal of the season on the power play from Bouillon, I believe, and Matt Boldy, 3:13 of the opening frame. Marco Rossi would double up the lead to 2-0, getting his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Trennan and Brezo, 6:51 of the first. Alex Pietrangelo would cut into the lead, getting his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Noah Hanifin, 10:48 of the first period. Matt Boldy would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his second goal of the game, his fourth of the playoffs, unassisted, 11:05 of the second period, increasing Minnesota's lead to 3-1. Kirill Kaprizov would get his second goal of the game on the power play, his fourth of the season, from Hartman and Rossi, and that goal happened with just 2 seconds to go in the second period, so heading into the third, Minnesota had a 4-1 lead. Riley Smith would cut the lead in half, getting his first goal of the playoffs, shorthanded, from William Karlsson and Zach Whitecloud, 11:34 of the third period. Despite the fact that Vegas had a power play and they pulled their goalie, they would give up an empty netter and a shorthanded goal at that from Marcus Foligno, who got his second goal of the playoffs, assisted by Zach Bogosian. So the Wild have stunned the Vegas Golden Knights in back-to-back games and now lead this best-of-7 series 2-1. And the final game took place in St. Louis, as the Blues were hoping to get back into the series against the Winnipeg Jets. Pavel Buchnevich would kick things off for the Blues just 48 seconds into the opening frame, getting his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Snuggerud and Cam Fowler. He would score again, getting his second goal of the game from Robert Thomas and Cam Fowler, a power play goal. 3:11 of the first period, the Blues had an early 2-0 lead. Cam Fowler got his first goal of the playoffs from Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich, 15:51 of the first period, increasing the Blues' lead to 3-0. There was no scoring in the second. David Gustafsson would finally get Winnipeg on the board, getting his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Anderson Dolan and Morgan Barron. Pavel Buchnevich would get his third goal of the game, a hat-trick from Robert Thomas, 5:24 of the third period, getting that back their 3-goal lead. They had a 4-1 lead at this point. Jordan Kyrou would increase the lead to 5-1, getting his second goal of the playoffs on the power play from Cam Fowler, 7:56 of the third period, increasing the lead to 5-1. Alexei Torpachenko would increase the lead to 6-1, getting his first goal of the playoffs from Jake Neighbors and Radek Faksa, 10:32 of the third period, increasing the lead to 6-1. Neil Pionk would score, getting his first goal of the playoffs from Colin Miller and Mason Appleton. 12:50 of the third period, cutting the lead to 6-2, but it was too little too late at that point for a comeback, as Colton Parayko would get his first goal of the playoffs on the power play from Cam Fowler and Robert Thomas. 16:17 of the third period. The Blues would win big, 7-2. Now we'll take a look at the standings. So we'll go from the top left. The Winnipeg Jets, despite losing, still lead that best-of-7 series 2-1. The Dallas Stars have a 2-1 series lead in their best-of-7 series over the Colorado Avalanche. Just going to scroll down. The bottom left-hand corner. Minnesota has taken a 2-1 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights. The Los Angeles Kings still have a 2-0 lead over their division rival, I guess you could say, in the Edmonton Oilers, 2-0. Going back on the top right hand of the screen, the Toronto Maple Leafs are now just one win away from advancing to the second round of the playoffs. They have a 3-0 stranglehold over their provincial rival in the Ottawa Senators. The Florida Panthers have taken the first 2 games in their best-of-7 series, so therefore they lead that series 2-0. Going to the bottom right, the Washington Capitals lead that best-of-7 series over the Montreal Canadiens 2-0, and the Carolina Hurricanes also have a 2-0 lead in their best-of-7 series over the New Jersey Devils. All right, that's going to take care of this recap from the Stanley Cup playoffs. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative as well. Until next time, and as always, take care.